Hello, friends, and happy Friday. Welcome to Drag Queen Story Hour, celebrating Black voices. My name is Jess, and I'm here with my friend BeBe Sweetbriar. Hi, BeBe.
Hi everybody. Hi, Jeff.
Hi. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. We are so excited to be here. For those of you who don't know, my name's Jess, and I work for an organization called Family Equality. We're a national organization who serves LGBTQ families and those who wish to form them. And one of our favorite things to do is to have story time with you all. And we're so excited today to be joined by BeBe and our friends over at Drag Queen Story Hour, which I'm sure some of you out there have heard of. So Drag Queen Story Hour is a global network of local organizations with the mission of bringing awesome events around reading stories, literature, just creativity in general to youth. And all of those events are led by drag queens, drag queen kings, drag creatures, and they are a blast. And how long have you been doing things with Drag Queen Story Hour, BeBe?
I've actually known of them and worked with them for a couple of years, but I just started becoming a reader about a year ago. So, because I enjoyed it so much from an audience participant standpoint, but I just wanted to be, a reader as well. So here I am.
Awesome. We are so happy that you're here with us today. And for those of you who don't know BeBe Sweetbriar, she is a San Francisco-based star, an award-winning performer and media personality, but also a fierce advocate. So she has been doing work combating HIV and AIDS stigma and uplifting stories of trans and queer youth for years. And she's also a parent, and I just found out a soon-to-be grandparent.
There you go.
Love that. So you can find Drag Queen Story Hour online. I also recommend following them on social media because they do a lot of awesome virtual readings. You can also follow BeBe Sweetbriar on social media because she does a lot of virtual readings as well, and a whole lot of other events. But thanks, everyone, for joining us again. And I'm going to turn it over to you, BeBe, to lead us in our Drag Queen Story Hour, all about celebrating Black voices.
Hello, everybody. It's so great for me to be here particularly during the month of Black History Month, and we're winding down on the month. We've only got the weekend until we get into March, so it's really great to be with you all. I hope we've got tons of kids out there. I know it's been really tough during this period of COVID, that you've been home all the time and on the internet doing your schoolwork and in classwork, not out of classwork. I'm sorry. So hopefully this stuff hasn't gotten old for you by watching your computer screen and seeing people on it all the time, but hopefully this will be fun. It's a nice little break for you for the day, and hopefully you'll learn a couple of things as well. So I'm just going to get right into it because I have a few stories that we're going to read for you today, as well as there will be a mid-break where you have an opportunity to ask me questions, and I will be more than happy to answer all of your questions today. But our first book today is really kind of fun, and I think you guys probably have maybe seen the movie. It was a movie that won an Academy Award, that big trophy that actors love to get, but it was a best animated film and a short film. So I wanted to make sure that you were aware of that, just in case you wanted to kind of check up on it. You could find it probably on any of the movie streaming apps that your parents might have or you adults would have, and you could still watch it there because it pretty stays true to the book that I'm going to read for you. It's called Hairdo, and it was a New York bestseller, and it is written by Matthew A. Cherry and illustrated by Vashti Harrison. They're the ones who draw the pictures for the book. Okay, so we're gonna get right into it. I got my big hair on, so hopefully I'll kind of read true to the book. I'll look like the book a little bit. Okay, so here we go. My name is Zuri, and I have hair that has a mind of its own. Me too. It kinks, coils, and curls every which way. This is kind of how Curie wakes up every morning. I wonder if there's anybody out there who kind of can relate to that. Are there people out there can relate to the hair? Daddy tells me it is beautiful. That makes me proud. That makes me real proud. I love that my hair lets me be me. It's great how your hair can help define you, huh? A lot of people use a hair description when they're trying to get people to understand who you are. Like, oh, you know, the one with the dark hair, the one with the long hair, the one with the curly hair, that kind of thing. So hair can be important. In funky braids with beads, I am a princess. Does anybody else wear braids like that out there? I wear braids sometimes. It's easier when you have braids in your hair. And when my hair is in two puffs, I am above the clouds like a superhero. We'll call her two puff Curie. Two puff Zuri. My hair even does magic tricks. One day, Rocky and I, Rocky's her cat, were playing outside when along came the train. From large to small, it went. Presto! Just like that. There is nothing my hair can't do. See Presto? I think it's Presto, right? The cat? No, Rocky, I'm sorry. There's Rocky the cat. They're kind of having a little tea party by the railroad tracks. Today, I woke up extra early all by myself. I was so excited. I was too excited to sleep. It's a big day. I kind of felt like that today because I was going to read to you. So I don't do the one eye thing. I barely open one eye. And of course, Rocky's on the bed. I have a dog that's always on my bed too. Daddy was still sleeping. Shh, I said to Rocky as we tiptoed past him. Lately, Daddy has been worn out. He makes me breakfast, takes me to school, goes to work, picks me up, and yesterday we went for a bike ride around the park. I think he needs a break. Sometimes being a parent can be a lot of work, you know? It's a lot of work. I hope all the kids out there appreciate what your parents do for you every day. I'm sure they wake you up every morning. Am I there? Today is special. I want a perfect hairstyle. This calls for a professional's touch. I kind of went with the Beyonce look myself, but I don't know. I think Zuri was going for a different look. Pause off, Rocky. Daddy heard the crash. Zuri, what on earth? He asked. She was sitting there thinking about how her hair was going to look. And then bam, Rocky jumped in. Caused things to hit on the floor. Dad's wondering, what's going on in the bathroom? Do you guys get like that sometimes? Like when you're brushing your teeth and stuff fall off? Yeah. Worries the parents. I was only trying to help, I said. Daddy smiled. Can I help too? It'll be a piece of cake, Zuzu. I think he calls her Zuzu, kind of as a nickname. She's talking there. The first style was a big, no way. I don't know. I kind of like the three puffs. See, I have a little kind of puff here too. I like the 3 puffs. The second was no better. No, Daddy. Then Daddy tried slicking my hair back into 2 puffs. Ouch, Daddy yelled. Why? Because he got hit in the eye there. I like the 2 puffs too. I like the puffs in general, I think. 2, 3 doesn't really matter. Wait a minute, Daddy said as he reached into the drawer and pulled out a pick. Ta-da! Daddy, really? I said. So look at, he grabs the comb. He's pulling the hair. Hopefully she's not tender-headed and it doesn't hurt. And then voila! That's called afro. I know, do you guys like it? I like it. I'll be right back, he promised. Now, how's that? He asked, pulling a hat down over her eyes. Here's that. I don't like that one. Nah, that doesn't work. Daddy, come on, we can do better than that. I really need my hair to be special. Don't worry, he said. We'll figure this all out. Then I had a great idea. That's her talking to her dad. I've got a great idea. Daddy gathered all the tools we needed and we were set. So we've got the comb right here. We've got the comb. Look at Rocky looking on. He's got some stuff to put in her hair, probably some type of relaxing oil just to help get the kinks out. I like Dad's hair. Watching carefully, Daddy combed, parted, oil, and twisted. He nailed it. See, that's all the work. Boy, doing hair can be... I've got 2 daughters, so I know how doing hair can be. And voila, funky puff buns, pretty, 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 and so much fun. Even Rocky approved. See, he's like all happy. I put on my superhero cape as the final touch to a perfect look. I want that cape. Where's my Zuzu? Mommy called from the door. She could not get in the house fast enough. Mommy! Called Zuri. See, there's Mom at the door. You've got to be the prettiest Supergirl I have ever seen, Mommy says. Can you see? There we go. Welcome home, Mom, it says. And your hair is beautiful, Zuri. See that welcome home? Mom's been gone for a little bit. Who did it? Then Zuri looked at Dad for a little confirmation, and he was beaming. Mommy smiled very nice. Thank you. We learned from the best, Daddy said as he gave her a big old hug. Daddy's hugging Mom. It's nice to always, appreciate when people do a, good job or work really hard to do something. And Mom was really kind of happy that Dad took the time to comb Zuri's hair, and it looked really good. My hair is Mommy, Daddy, and me. It's hair love. Combing Zuri's hair was a family affair, right? There you go. That's the end of the story. Again, this was by Matthew A. Cherry. illustrated or drawn by Vashti Harrison. Did you guys like that? Come on, I know you guys like that, right? That was a good book. I liked it. It kind of, like I said, reminded my hair. I want to see if anybody has some pictures that they can post in the comment section of their hair. I want to see everybody's hair. I love hair. And my hair changes all the time. I wear different hair all the time. Because that's what drag queens do. We wear a lot of different hair. That's what we do. Are you guys ready for another story? Huh? Yeah. Another story? Okay. You like my glitter? I hope it's not blinding anybody out there. All the see, it's kind of cool, right? I like this fabric and the jewelry. Okay, my next book, also a family book about a father and their child. So kind of see the theme there a little bit, I guess. And this one's called I Am Perfectly Designed. And this one is by Caramel Brown and Jason Rachel Brown. And it's illustrated by Anusha Saeed. And Caramel Brown and Jason Brown are father and son. And they wrote this book together. And it's called I Am Perfectly Designed. First, there was you, Dad, and then there was me. There's Dad, and there's me. And now there is us. That's right. Now there is us. When you first saw me, you said, he is perfectly designed from his head to his toes. And I meant every word. Still do, says Dad. When I was a baby, I looked just like you. Only I had no hair and you had lots. Now it's just the opposite. Trust me, Dad says, so true. See, at the beginning, Dad has a lot of hair. Baby, no hair. But then as time goes on, as some of you might see in your own dad, you've got lots more hair than they do. The first thing I remember is being carried on your shoulders while you walked me all over the city. Coming out the house. Do some of you guys have stairs coming out of your front door? I have a few. Dad goes, I remember that. You had such a big baby head. And indeed, but your big baby head was perfectly designed for you. Right? However we look, it's us. It's perfectly for us. It's unique to us. When I was real little, I thought you could touch the moon. Remember that? We'd sit on the roof and reach for it. Dad says one day you'll be big enough to reach it yourself. But until then, it's perfectly fine to ask for help. I know that happens sometimes, right? Like even when you're in the kitchen and you want to get something off the counter and you're not quite big enough to do it, what do you have to do? You've got to ask for help, right? Maybe a parent, maybe a big brother or sister. Somebody might have to help you. And it's okay to ask for help, right? You don't have to do everything by yourself. Remember when we went as syrup and waffles for Halloween, Dad? That's cute. Oh my gosh, that's a cute costumes. Dad is syrup, obviously, as you can see there. And the little boy, his son, or his little kid, his child is a waffle. It's cute. Dad says, I do, I do. That was awesome. I wonder what will be this year. When I run in the park, jump in the park, climb trees in the park, and pretend that I am a statue in the park, you remind me I am perfectly designed to explore the world. Dad says you are, and you always will be. The weather in San Francisco, where I'm at, has been wonderful for park days. I know some other parts of the country haven't been so blessed with great weather, but this is kind of what I see outside my door a little bit. Kids playing. These are always fun doing on the picnics in the park where you get to lay down in the grass, enjoy some food, hopefully, some snacks. If you have a pet, your pet's with you. Aren't these fun? I'm going to tell you, these are memories, if you have these, that you have to hold on to. These are so much fun, because we grow up so fast. You kids grow up so fast. Before you know it, you'll be doing the same thing with your kids. Sometimes, Dad, when I get mad or sad or confused, you wrap me in your arms. I like that. Dad says, me too. And I remind you that you are perfectly designed and wonderful, no matter what you're feeling. You know, being mad and being sad, being confused, those are natural feelings. Those are things that happen to all of us. And we sometimes all have our own individual way of responding and reacting to those feelings. So they are unique, perfectly designed for the way you express those feelings. Getting a great hug from someone that you care about is always neat too, right? When you're mad or sad, confused, it's great to have that comforting hug from someone that you admire and enjoy being around. Dad, when I grow up and leave home, will you miss me? Dad says, yes, very much. These are the kind of talks that you have when you're kind of walking hand in hand, right? I guess when I was little, I kind of wondered if I'd be missed if I wasn't around. I don't know. Will you go into my room and play with my race cars and stuffed animals? Dad says, I will. Will you sit on the fire escape and feed the pigeons like we do in the summer? Dad says, the pigeons and the sparrows, yeah. Will you remember our favorite moves? Dance moves he's talking about. Dad says, I will, and I'll invent some new ones too. Here he is with the birds. These are the dance moves to the music. Get that picture in there. There we go. Come on now. I bet you guys got some real nice moves out there too, huh? Some great dance moves. I don't know. I'm not the best dancer, but hey. Dad, he says, Will you always think of me? That's ever kind of big on his mind, huh? About whether or not he'll be thought of. I'm always thinking about my kids, even as they have grown up. Dad says always. You know what, Dad? What? I will always remember walking through the city and sitting on your shoulders. And maybe when you're older and I'm taller, maybe when I'm older and I'm taller, I can carry you on my shoulders because we are perfectly designed for each other. Dad says, that's right. And this is what Karamo and Jason look like in real life. The end. That's it. Perfectly, I am perfectly designed. You're perfectly designed. Your sibling is perfect. Your brother or sister is perfectly designed. Your friend is perfectly designed. That's the message. You are the way you're supposed to be. Okay? Right? We all are. We're the way we're supposed to be. Maybe. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe. Yeah, we are. We are. Any questions out there? It's halftime. Halftime. It's not a football game, but it's halftime.
Halftime. We do
Hi,
have
Jess.
a few questions. Hi. Thanks for sharing those great books. One question that we have is folks are wanting to know, what is your favorite thing about being a drag queen, BeBe?
Wow, that's a kind of a loaded question because there's so many things I like about drag. But I think the most favorite, the thing I like the most is that for some reason, drag is kind of like my superpower, if that makes any sense to everybody. It's like my superpower. And I feel like I can do anything when I'm in drag, and I can make people happy. I can make change. All those great things, but it's my superpower. I feel like I'm more able when I'm in drag.
That's awesome. Sounds like you're perfectly designed in and out of drag, which is amazing.
I love how you tied that in. Yeah. and the thing about drag too for everyone is the fact that like today I look like this, and then tomorrow I may feel like a different way and I'll look a little differently. So it gives me an opportunity to kind of be different all the time.
Well, our next question is actually about your different looks. Folks are wondering, what is the wildest hairdo you've ever done?
Oh my God. I wish I had pictures. I've got this mohawk. I don't know. I know adults know what a mohawk is, but the kids, they may not know. It's when the sides are shaved off and you have all this wild hair sticking up from the front all the way to the back. And that one's kind of wild because it's got like jewels in the hair, and it's kind of crazy. So that's probably like my biggest one. I don't usually wear a lot of big hair like this, but that's kind of my wildest one. It's called a mohawk. It's a good discussion that you can have with someone older than you to show you a picture if you don't know what it looks like.
Yeah. I was going to say, we're going to have to do another story time where you wear
and I wear
That
my mohawk.
sounds awesome. And some of our listeners heard you say that you have a dog. So what's your dog's name?
My dog's name is Bella. I can quickly see. Can we get Bella in here quickly? She may be taking a nap in here. The name of the dog, the type of dog is called a Shih Tzu, and they're from China. They were bred in China. So she's extremely nice and sweet and considered a lap dog. She always no Bella. Bella. Come
Maybe
on,
she's taking a
Bella.
little
I know.
snooze.
I want it quickly.
It's
She's
nap time.
Come on, Bella. Come on. Come on. Can you pick her up for me? Here's Bella. See,
Oh my
Bella?
goodness.
Oh, say hi, Bella.
Hi, Bella. Oh, a little camera shy, maybe.
Not generally,
No?
but she's probably wondering because it's a smaller screen than usual, so she's probably like, "What's going on here?"
Oh my gosh, kisses. Amazing, amazing. And one other question I had, BeBe, is just, where our drag story hour today is all about celebrating Black voices. It's, the end of Black History Month. What, to you, what's the importance of having, books with that feature Black characters, Black families, especially LGBTQ families, is a huge, obviously what family equality is all about, but so important to us and our viewers. And I would just love to hear why that's important to you.
Well, I think it's important for all of us to be able to see ourselves and people who look like us doing a variety of things in life. That's the way I think that we all realize what's possible for us. And when we watch television, when we watch a movie, when we read books, and we read these fascinating stories about people accomplishing, wonderful things in life, we want to see how we would look in those positions, those jobs, those activities. And when we don't see ourselves in them, then it becomes something that we don't think we can achieve. So I think it's very important that we see stories where people are happy and when people are accomplishing great things. And I think these books that we are reading to you today, as well as any other time that Drag Queen Story Hour reads books, those are the things that we try and get across to our audience, is that this could be you. This could be something that you could enjoy. And then they see themselves and they go, oh yeah, that looks like me, So I think that's what's very important for us to be reflected in stories and books.
Absolutely. And one thing I love about Drag Queen Story Hour is you all often do themed story times. So you'll have, I know you have on your website, you have your Black Voices book collection, and you also, have books around Latinx Heritage Month, and, even for Valentine's Day, books about love and about different kinds of families. So folks should definitely head over to Drag Queen Story Hour's website and check those out. Not just for story times, but also to fill your library at home.
There you go. And we also have drag queens who have written children's books. And we have people that are part of our organization behind the scenes that are authors and have books out. So not only do we read them, but we are also producers of the material that we present. So that's fun as well.
Absolutely. I know one of our favorite books in our house is written by Little Miss Hot Mess.
Oh yeah, Little Miss Hot Mess.
On the drag queen.
Yeah, go swish, swish, swish. Yeah.
That is a great one. It is so great. Well, folks out there, if you have any other questions or comments for BeBe, feel free to drop them in the comments section. But I'm really excited for our next two books, so let's dive back in.
Here we go. Now, we always think about things that if we weren't in our human form, if we weren't people, what would we like to be? Would you like to be a little dog, or would you like to be a bird, or something like possibly a mermaid? Think about it. What would you like to be? Well, I have a story here about a little boy who wants to be a mermaid, and it's simply called Julian Is a Mermaid. This is written by Jessica Love, and I love this story. I've read it many, many times, and the reason why I love this story is because you can find a mermaid in anything. Okay? So here we go. Julian Is a Mermaid by Jessica Love. I'm just going to start off where you see these three lovely ladies at a pool, and there's Julian, and that's with his Nana, also known as a grandmother, Abuelita. This is a boy named Julian, and this is his abuela, which is grandmother, and those are some mermaids. So this is Julian, and they're actually at a pool. See the mermaids there? I like the way the mermaid tails look when they're standing upright like that or upright like that, because they look like gowns, and drag queens love gowns. Look at their hair. And they're actually on the bus to the pool, I do believe. Yeah, that's what that is. Sorry about that. Julian loves mermaids, as I said, and he thinks about them all the time. And he thinks about himself turning into a mermaid. Look at that. Just like transforming. You know, like that show Transformers. Always thinking about. That's the thing about mermaids, is because they're in the water. They get to kind of float. Now, you may not know this, the kids out there, but you know, when you were being developed in mommy's stomach, you're kind of in water like that. So it's kind of natural to be swimming and floating around. Natural to like the fishes and all of that. But boy, see, now we get to see what he thinks about what my tail would look like. What kind of things do you think about being in your kind of in a fantasy world? Grandma or Nana, Abuela, tells Julian, "Vámonos." As you can tell, they speak Spanish. "Vámonos, mijo, this is our stop. Time to get off the bus." They leave the bus, or the BART in San Francisco, waves to the mermaids that he envisioned on the. It's like, time for us to go. Bye. They look like Destiny's Child, for those of you who might know Beyonce and Destiny's Child. "Abuela," he says, "did you see the mermaids?" Abuela says, "I saw them, mijo." And mijo is just a word kind of to say little one. He's walking by, walking from the bus. They're walking home now. Sees the other kids playing. As they get to the door, Julian says, "Abuela, I am also a mermaid." Abuela goes, "I'm going to take a bath. You be good while I'm taking a bath." But he's like, "Abuela, I'm also a mermaid." Abuela goes, "Okay, I'm going to take a bath, but you stay out of trouble. Be good." You guys asked about my hair. I've worn hair like that before too. All white. Julian has a good idea why Abuela's in the bathtub. I wonder what he's doing. What is he thinking? This is a good idea. What is he? What's up his sleeve? What's Julian doing right now? What's going on here? What What's he doing with that plant? He's putting plant on his head? What the heck is that? Oh, he's putting on some lipstick. There's some lipstick. And then the wind blows through the curtain, and Julian says, I have an idea, another idea to complete my costume. Now, I don't know if this is a great idea for you to do at home, but I don't know how your parents may react to you taking down the drapes, but they might have a look on their face like this when they come in the room, like the abuela does. Oh, there she is. Oh, uh-oh. He's like, am I in trouble? Oh, no. Oh, no, am I in trouble? Come here, mijo, abuela says. He thinks he's in trouble. But he's not in trouble. Abuela has something in her hand. Julian goes, for me, abuela? For you, Julian, she says. Ooh, I'm all crooked. For me, abuela. Yes, for you, Julian, she says. And then they go outdoors again. I think they're going back to the pool. Let's see where they're going. As they're walking down the street, he goes, where are we going, abuela? She goes, we'll see. But there's people with bathing suits on. It must be hot where they are, huh? Oh, look at those dogs. Look at the cute little, those are called chihuahuas, I think. Chihuahuas or dachshunds? I'm not for sure. Maybe somebody out there can clarify what those look like. Then Julian goes, ah, mermaids. Excuse me. In all kinds of sizes, colors. Look at that. Mermaids. Look at that tail. Look at that tail. I just got to show the tail again. Look at that tail. Like you, mijo, abuela says, let's join them. And he's like, already. Says he's on the corner. And look at the parade of mermaids. Like, tons of them. Again, all different shapes, colors. That's what's so neat about mermaids. Well, they join in and go on the march around the beach. Julian and his grandma. And there they are taking a swim. Julian really is a mermaid. Isn't that fun? That's fun. How many people out there want to be a mermaid? Anybody out there want to be a mermaid? Well, if you want to be a mermaid, I want to know why you want to be a mermaid. Why do you want to be a mermaid? I know they're pretty. They have nice long tails. They can swim. They're floating. It's like being on air. Why do you want to be a mermaid? I just want to know. I want to know why. But Julian Am I here? There I am. There I am. I can see me, but I don't know. Yeah, there I am. Are you guys ready for our last book for the day, for our hour? This is the last one that I'm going to read for you. And it might ring true to some things that you've seen in the news or on television or your parents talking about as it relates to some of the things that are going on in the world in the United States of America, which is where we live today. And the name of this book is called The Youngest Marcher. And it's written by Cynthia Levinson, and it's the story of Audrey Faye Hendricks. She is a young civil rights activist, and it's a true story. Okay, this really, really did happen to Audrey. Again, the youngest marcher, the story of Audrey Faye Hendricks. Whenever Mike flew into town, Audrey and her mama cooked. They cooked barbecued ribs, some stewed greens, some sweet potato souffle, and Audrey's favorite, hot rolls baptized in butter. I'm going to tell you what baptized in butter means in just a second. See there. Mom's in the kitchen. Audrey's right there. Getting things ready for Mike's visit. Other folks knew Mike as Martin or Dr. King. The Hendrickses used his nickname. They did the same with other ministers too, like Fred Shuttlesworth and Jim Bevel. After Mike blessed the feast, Mama expected Audrey to keep still during supper. But when grown-ups talked about wiping out the segregation law, that means like separation, that kept Black and white people apart in Birmingham, she just had to speak up. Audrey intended to go places and do things like anybody else. And I want to eat my ice cream inside Newberry's. I want to sit downstairs in Alabama. I don't want hand-me-down school books. That's what Audrey said. But stools at the counter, plush movie theater seats, books so fresh they crackle when you open them, those were for white children. Hush, hissed Mama. 9-year-old children should not speak in front of company, especially ministers like Mike, Fred, and Jim, who were bringing dreams of justice. So there's Mike at the dinner table, Martin, Dr. King. And Audrey's listening to what they say, grown folk conversation, and she just had to speak her mind a little bit. Because she didn't think segregation was fair. She didn't get an opportunity to read those fresh books or to go to sit at the counter at the ice cream parlor. Audrey knew all about segregation. She knew to pay the driver at the front of the bus, then step off and walk around to the back door. Drink from the fountain with the dirty bowl and warm water. Use the freight elevator at the department stores downtown, and front row seats, cool water, elevators with white gloved operators. Law said those were for white folks. See, she's drinking from the water fountain, which has hot water, walking around to the back of the bus. Every Monday night, Audrey and her mama and daddy and her aunts and uncles and cousins joined neighbors and friends at Fred's church for worship, fellowship, and testimony. Testimony is just when they tell a true story about something they've experienced. She sang and swayed along with the movement choir, her voice spirited and spiritual. Black and white together, we shall overcome. Black and white together, we shall overcome. For once, she didn't have to keep still. That's her in church. Oops. Get a good look at that. That's her, mom, and those are fans that keep them cool while sometimes in churches when there's a lot of people and get kind of warm in there and you got to have a hand fan and you kind of do this. See? To keep cool. Then came testimonies in church. White store owners won't hire me. See that one right there? Black gentleman saying that. Ku Kluxers chased me. This can be a little. Those are people who hide their face with those the white on there because they didn't like brown and black people. Policemen called me names. Policeman's being mean to that black woman. The hateful stories made Audrey squirm. She tried to tell her mama, that's not right. Shh, Mama said. How could Mama expect her to hush? She had to make things right, but what could Audrey do? When Mike visited Fred's church, thousands of people crowded around around her to hear him preach. In a voice as steel that sounded like steel cables, as smooth as glass, he intoned, "Segregation is morally wrong and sinful." That's true. Fired up, Audrey sat taller. An unjust law is no law at all, Mike proclaimed. Audrey had listened to Mike explain his plan at her supper table and knew what he meant. If a law is unjust, should you obey it or disobey it? Sit down inside Newberry's, picket those white stores, march to protest those unfair laws. Why, even marching was against the law. Then get arrested. Fill the jails, Mike exclaimed. Fill Birmingham jail so full that policemen can't squeeze in one more person. Pack cells so tight that police will have to quit arresting people for demanding their rights. That's all they're doing is like demanding their human right. Audrey just knew Mike's plan would work. She twisted in her pew, which are the seats in the church, to see which grown-ups would walk down the aisle, volunteer for jail. But they mostly stayed put, eyes staring at their feet. You know how you do that when you don't want to be seen, pointed out. Hands on their knees. Feet, hands, and knees didn't move. Fill the jails, Mike pleaded, meeting after meeting. But heads shook. All around her, Audrey heard, no, best not break those segregation laws. Boss man will fire me. Landlord will evict me. Policemen will beat me. If nobody protested, Mike's plan would fail. Police could keep arresting anyone, anytime, for anything. Forever. Audrey would never be able to go places and do things like everybody else. One night, Jim announced a new idea. If grown-ups won't do it, fill the jails, that is, let's fill the jails with children. Audrey leaped to her feet. I want to go to jail, she declared. Mama looked deep and saw that Audrey's eyes begged, please. Okay, Mama said. Audrey strutted down the aisle. She was going to jail. That's her walking down the aisles in church. A brave young girl. 2 mornings later, she put on a fresh pressed pinafore. That's a type of dress that kind of, see that right there? That's the type of pinafore, and it has like a tie in the back, a bow tie, or a bow tied around her waist. 2 mornings later, she put on a fresh pressed pinafore and shiny Mary Janes. Those are a type of shoe. With turned down socks. Protesters got to look nice. In the meantime, her daddy bought her a game to help her pass the time in jail. Her mama and daddy took her by Center Street Elementary to tell her teacher she'd be absent, maybe for a whole week. Miss Wills wrapped her arms around her. Audrey knew she was proud of her. See right here. Those are her grandparents. She said goodbye to her grandparents. You'll be fine, her grandmother said. She knew Audrey would be brave. So did Audrey. Then her mama and daddy drove her to the 16th Street Baptist Church where the children were gathering. Even before she reached the door, Audrey heard loud voices chanting freedom songs. We shall overcome. See, the kids, these are kids lining up because they're getting ready to march and protest for the unjust laws against their people. Inside, hundreds of big kids called out to friends and crowded around signs in their high schools. Parker, Carver, her head swiveled. Where was the sign for Center Street Elementary? She was the only protester from her school, the youngest child in the whole church, and she knew no one. See, there's Parker and Carver and all the kids are underneath those signs. But there was not one for Audrey's school. Audrey huddled by her parents in the basement. But when Jim lined her up with the others 2 by 2 and the door swung open, Audrey straightened up. She was going to break the law and go to jail to help make things right. Clutching a protest sign in one hand and her game in the other that her dad gave her, Audrey marched out the door. She stomped and sang, ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. See those protest signs? Can a man love God and hate his brother? That's a question mark. Justice for all. Those are all kids, remember. Half a block from the church, a white policeman stopped Audrey. He pointed towards a police van. And then he said, sentence, 1 week in jail. That's Audrey is going to jail. Just because she was marching for her rights. A matron, that is in jail, they have like police officers that make sure that you are abiding by the rules when you're in jail. And the women they call matrons. A matron locked Audrey into a day room with 24 other girls, all older, all bigger, all strangers. Audrey sat down alone and slipped the cover off her game. See? That's the game that her dad gave her to take to kind of pass the time while she was in jail. She's going to be there for a week. That's what the policeman said. I told you to sit down, the matron yelled. Audrey jumped. She didn't remember standing up. The matron dragged her to a dark, empty room. When I tell you to do something, you do it, she commanded, or I'll leave you here. That's all it is like cement walls. Not a fun place. Jail's not a fun place. Trembling, Audrey quietly followed the matron back to the day room, but put away her game, lay down her head, and she cried. Jail was harder than she thought, and she wasn't fine after all. By evening, Audrey was hungry and tired. She wanted dinner, soupy, for dinner, soupy, oily, tasteless grits. At night, a bare mattress with one thin sheet for a cover. Not too cute. Look at this. This was not too cute. See that mattress? It's all bleh. Hey, but it is jail. Not meant for it to be a luxury. The next morning, no fresh underwear, no clean pinafore, no toothbrush. Ugh. Can you imagine going to school with your teeth kind of, but sometimes, but no, it's not a good thing. Audrey and her cellmates were let outdoors into an empty concrete pen surrounded by high prison walls. The older girls talked together. Audrey wondered what her classmates were doing since she was the only one from her school here. Miss Wills would be keeping them busy in the classroom. See, it's a prison wall. It's like a basketball court or a playground with all those high walls. There's nothing fun in that when you don't have any freedom, right? But maybe you have to do some things like this in order to make change. On another day, Audrey was sent to a huge room and told to sit in a chair that was so high her feet dangled above the floor. 4 white men glared at her. She'd never talked to a white man before. "Are you against America?" one demanded to know. "No, sir," she answered politely. "What do you talk about at those meetings?" another asked. "Our freedom," she said. "Why did you march?" She says to go places and to do things like anybody else. What was wrong with that? These are the 4 men grilling, asking all these questions to Audrey about why she marched. It's like making her feel uncomfortable. Every mealtime, Audrey stared at greasy grits. She could barely spoon them into her mouth, let alone swallow them. Every night, the cop's wire springs jabbed her in her back. Every morning, she had nothing to do but sit alone with her game. That's her sitting in her cell on her bed, waiting for that week to be over. In the afternoons, though, more kids crowded in the day room. Some days, many of them arrived sopping wet. A girl explained that firemen aimed powerful hoses at the children. Surging water spun them off their feet and down the street. They got up and kept marching anyway until they were too sent to jail. By Audrey's 5th day in detention, the police couldn't squeeze in one more person, just like Mike had asked them to do. "We filled up all the rooms. We filled up all the rooms." Audrey practically jumped up and down. She was so proud. That's exactly what Mike wanted to happen, right? For them to arrest so many people, they couldn't arrest one more person. Watching television in the day room, she saw Black people stroll straight into stores and restaurants like they belonged there. No one else could be sent to jail. Everything had changed. They couldn't arrest them anymore. There was no place to put people. After 7 days, Audrey went home. Her mama and daddy wrapped their arms tight around her and washed the jail off of her. And for dinner, guess what they had? Hot rolls, baptized in butter. Remember, I was going to tell you what baptized in butter meant? It just means that you put melted butter all over those buns. Two months later, the city of Birmingham wiped away segregation laws clean off the books. Audrey licked her spoon clean at Newberry's counter like everybody else. Black and white together, like we belong. There she is at Newberry's, eating that ice cream. And that's the end. I almost dropped my book there. That's the end. So she went to jail. She marched like the adults would do, just in the name of getting rid of the unjust laws, segregation, splitting white people and Black people so they weren't going to the same stores, they weren't in the same schools, and did away with segregation in Birmingham. And that's the end of that story. It's probably not a whole lot that you didn't know, though, right?
Oh, I love that story, and I love that it's a true story.
So it's a true story. I think she was. Let me double check because I know we've run out of time here, but I do believe she was 10 years old when this happened. Yes, she was 10 years old when she did this, and this was back in 1963. So it's a long time ago.
Yeah,
long time ago.
I know.
A long time ago, but I was born then, so I was alive.
Something my daughter and I talk about, because we also love that book, is how kids today can be a part of liberation movements, whether it's around racial equity or something else. There are so many ways to get involved in your community. And so maybe
no, it's quite simple too. I mean, basically, you have a sign sometimes you don't, but you're marching. It's your presence in showing that something is not right. It's not correct. Very peaceful. There was no one's getting hurt. It's a very peaceful, what they call protest in recognizing that something is not correct, is not right.
Absolutely. So maybe as all of our friends out there go into the weekend, you can talk with your adults about different ways that you can get involved in your community, just like Audrey Faye Hendricks.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much, BeBe, for sharing that story with us, for sharing all of the stories with us.
That was so fun. So fun.
Yeah,
I had a ball.
It's been so lovely. Me too.
And you guys can, I'm on Facebook, so if there are any questions that anybody may have, you can find me as BeBe Sweetbriar. My name is up on the screen, and you can direct message me if you have a question that you weren't able to ask while we were live here on Facebook.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. So definitely find BeBe on social media, find Drag Queen Story Hour on social media so you could tune into more of these virtual story hours. And we will, excuse me, sorry about that.
Jess, were you talking or was I talking?
I know. Exactly. And we'll see you all soon. We love to do live streams over at Family Equality, and hopefully we'll be back soon
and happy Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month, everyone.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.